Hi all, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really happy to have you here, and hopefully you get to learn something new. I want to first start off and just introduce myself. I'm Allison Stoloff. I've been running marketing at Knotel for the past couple of years, and I'm now going to pass it over to Andrew to enter himself as well.
Great, thanks, Allison, and echo your thoughts. Appreciate everyone joining today. Quick housekeeping note, we're going to be recording this call and distributing it to all of those who attend. You'll also get a brief email with a flex quiz, which if you score 70% or higher on, we'll be sending you guys a $10 seamless gift card. My name's Andrew Dunn, and I'm Knotel's head of broker partnerships. We're without question currently in a time of unprecedented uncertainty. On a bit of a personal note, I hope everyone's families are safe and healthy. I know our Knotel family has definitely been affected and feeling the strain of everything that's going on. So sending our best thoughts out to everyone on the call. As it relates to the business, in the long run, we firmly believe coming out of this crisis, we're going to see a strong shift towards flexibility as companies in the general economy figure out what's the best way forward. In the short run, Knotel is committed to doing everything we can to be a source of support for you, for your clients, as we all figure out how to navigate forward. What I hope we'll provide over the next 45 minutes or so is a look into Knotel's view on flexible office, how we've adjusted to a lot of the changes that are occurring in today's office environment, and some ways we can potentially be helpful as you continue having these conversations with your clients. I'll turn it back over to Allison to kick us off.
Great. So one thing to note, so we have a few things to talk about, the Black Swan moment. We'll talk a little bit about Knotel, who we are, what we do. We'll talk through some of the use cases so you can start thinking through how we can partner together and serve your clients in the best way possible. We'll also talk through a pricing overview, a little bit about working with us, and then we'll end with Q&A. And in terms of submitting these questions, so you can submit an email to brokerpartnerships@knotel.com, or you can submit through the Zoom portal. And the email address, by the way, is at the bottom of these slides. So in case you didn't get that, brokerpartnerships@knotel, you can see it on the slide. So I want to start by addressing the topic that is on everyone's minds right now, which is COVID-19. You may have seen that Sequoia, one of the top VCs in Silicon Valley, labeled COVID-19 the Black Swan of 2020. And they're defining Black Swan as an unpredictable event that is really beyond what is normally expected of a situation and has potentially severe consequences. You know, I've been an operator for over 10 years now at companies like Facebook and Oscar Health, and I've never seen anything like this, and I don't think any of us have here, but I do know that as an operator, difficult times call for reevaluating your business plan, and I'm sure you've seen this from a lot of your clients. They're undergoing this right now, and we've seen this happening as we hear about many companies downsizing. So you've obviously read the news recently. So from Marriott to Convene to Compass, I heard about Trip Actions just this morning, and even Danny Meyer, one of the staples of New York, has obviously had to make some really difficult decisions. In terms of why this is so important for you, it's going to force your clients to reevaluate their 2020 planning, which includes cash runway, fundraising, projected sales, headcount, and capital spending. And the real estate decisions are related to many of these things. So I think the most important takeaway here is that the flexibility in real estate gives you options at the end of the day, because you have less long-term commitments. So I'm hoping that Andrew and I today will hopefully be able to clarify for you why Knotel is uniquely positioned to help companies address economic uncertainty. So just in terms of, we talked about the Black Swan of 2020, why Flex is so imperative given what's happening today. And it's clear that companies need agility, and we're going to see a shift towards risk mitigation via flexible workspace solutions. companies are going to realize now that there's an opportunity cost that's associated with buying new desks and building an office and subleasing your space at a discounted rate. This is all money that you could be using, that they could be using to preserve their runway, for example, pay down their debt or keep their employees. So now that I've talked about why Flex is relevant in today's environment, and it's here to stay, and hopefully Andrew and I are able to drive that point home, and hopefully you see that, I do want to take a step back and talk about what Knotel offers for those of you who might not be clear on that, and why Knotel is uniquely positioned to help. We are a flexible workspace platform that powers businesses forward, especially during times of uncertainty. And there's absolutely a value, placed on flexibility. We offer flexible terms. We offer all-in pricing and services. And we also offer workspaces that are tailored to a company's brand so that it looks like any of their other offices around the world. And you'll get to see some of these images that Andrew will talk through, but each space is very different. And it's exactly how the client wants it to be. And so it's made to their, it's tailored to them, made to their specifications. One thing I do want to highlight is that Knotel is not co-working. We only provide single tenant workspaces, primarily serving high growth companies and enterprises. It's really important to note that there are no shared conference rooms, common areas, bathrooms, kitchen, and IT infrastructure. And I think this point is just especially important to keep in mind now, because companies, I think now more than ever, they're going to want control over their workspace. I think this is, this whole COVID-19, crisis, I think will drive that point home that the companies are seeking control. They don't want a shared workspace. And because of that, Knotel, I think, is a really great solution. I also want to highlight that Knotel doesn't just provide physical workspace. So I mentioned at the beginning that we're a flexible workspace platform. And this means that flexibility really underlies everything that we do. We have a suite of products that sit within this platform. So for example, we have a product called Geometry that some of you may have heard of, and this is for clients who don't need an actual workspace. I like to call this, or have people think of it as BYO, real estate product. So if your clients already have a workspace and they need help figuring out how to make the space more productive, we have a team of workplace strategists who can help with that. Alternatively, if your client just needs help managing the space, that's something that we can help them do as well. So I think it's, again, important to highlight that it's not just about physical workspace. Yes, we provide that. We can match clients to spaces, but we also have these other services that we provide in the event that your client doesn't need a workspace at this time. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Andrew to talk through some of these use cases that hopefully will be really valuable for you as you think through your clients and what their needs are. And it also will showcase some of that unique tailoring that I mentioned earlier.
Great, thanks, Allison. I think one of the things that I hope everybody takes from this presentation is that Knotel does solve for a lot of different use cases, increasingly important today as companies begin to weigh where and how they spend. Cash management becomes vital, and every decision is really looked at through a microscope. One thing I will say is we're here to work with you and your clients. If that means it's a headquarters, a business continuity space for today's environment, or anything you see that's not included in the upcoming slides, reach out to a Knotel team member. We'll do everything we can to make our model work for you. On the screen here, you have several use cases that we see over and over again. This is an example of a couple of companies of the dozens that we've created space for. we do primary HQs, so high growth companies who are not sure what their headcount is going to be and don't want to commit to a long-term lease. Secondary space with companies who have incredible headquarters that they have on a direct basis, but need spaces in cities that they're thinking about launching. Swing space for companies looking to build their HQ and needing a place to house people. Spillover space when you have more people than you thought you would and are unable to take more space in a building, for instance. We can be a great use case for that as a way to not have to move completely, but rather just put a couple of people in a very close area. Acquisitions, so we see this a lot. People acquire a company and need a place to house them, might not have room for them in their headquarters. And then business unit specific or project specific spaces, people coming in for a 2-year project, consulting. We have a great example here of a campaign, which makes a lot of sense. So I'll start by walking through a space used as a primary headquarters. Again, often used by companies, high growth, headcount uncertain, extremely unpredictable, even in their main office. We have a great example here of Zeus Living. Zeus Living's a furnished monthly home rental business based in San Francisco, growing incredibly fast and outgrowing their space, looking for a new HQ. We put them in a gorgeous 17,000 foot custom design space that they've really, really enjoyed. After year 1 of a 2-year agreement, they've actually decided to extend that space as well as look in new cities that they plan to expand to within the Knotel portfolio. You'll hear about this with all of the different companies that I talk about here, that it's really not about the specific space. It's about the access to the portfolio. And as we look at these global brands, I think that's one of the things that we hear over and over again is one of our great differentiators. The next slide I'll talk about is Draftkings. If anyone's familiar with Draftkings Boston headquarters, I think it's still the largest single floor space in Boston. They have 105,000 square feet on a direct basis. It's an incredible space. And Draftkings came to us wanting to build out a West Coast presence while maintaining an aesthetic and a company culture that they had worked incredibly hard to have in their Boston office. We signed them to a 4,700 square foot space that they absolutely love. You can see the pictures here. It's incredible. It really fits their brand and their customer first culture. And really excited about that. After signing this space and being in it, they are now looking at several other cities with us and looking to expand into new markets through our platform. The next one I'll talk about is Uber. Needless to say, Uber is building an incredible HQ in San Francisco and needed a place to house some people while construction was happening. We found them a 50,000 square foot space, and it was really important to their team that their employees didn't feel like they were in something temporary. We worked incredibly hard to create a space that you see on the screen right now that feels like an Uber space and matches the design standards that all of their employees have really grown accustomed to and really enjoy. The next one is Twilio. Twilio is an incredible company and a great partner of ours. They're actually in 4 different cities with us now and came to us in New York when they made the strategic acquisition of SendGrid. They needed an outpost to accommodate their new hires and worked with us to create a space that reflected both brands without feeling like a traditional satellite office. They continue to grow in New York City as well as in several other markets with us. They're in London, Paris, New York, and Atlanta, which is actually a city we weren't in before they asked us to go there. And we partnered, went into the city, and are really excited about what we've built together. And then the last one is something you may have seen in the news. It's Bloomberg's campaign. Recently, obviously, Bloomberg decided to run for office and needed a campaign headquarters, and they needed it really fast. They asked us if they could get 60,000 feet in order to house a very quickly scaling campaign. We were able to get a deal done and then moved into a space in Midtown in less than a month. I think if you've seen any of the Axios pieces that they did on them or any of the many interviews that were done at the time, you'll see our space in the background. Something you'll notice from this space and from all of the others is none of them look like Knotel spaces. They certainly have some commonalities, but they are specifically designed to the need and use of each of our companies. And that's something that, Allison harped on and we'll continue to harp on, that this is what differentiates our product, is that it's really the company's space. And we're just a wonderful service provider that can hopefully help them accomplish what they're looking to do. So I'll jump into pricing. I think one of the things that we hear constantly from our broker partners is pricing is too expensive. You're 30 to 50% higher than all the other options. I'm worried I'm going to lose my client if they renew within your space or move within your portfolio or whatever it may be. Knotel charges a premium to allow customers to move. So I'd like to talk through a couple of these, hopefully give some clarity on all of them, and hopefully have everyone leave with a better understanding of why these are not true. So the first I'll talk about is pricing, and market rate is something that we are competing with, right? When you're looking at showing us against a direct lease or a sublease, it's often our price versus a market rate. What doesn't go into the conversation, and why it's not really an apples to apples comparison, is all the things below the iceberg, right? Market rate's just the tip. Total cost of occupancy, when you go into a Knotel space, it is a fully functional, fully operational space with all the things you see below the water here taken care of for you. Our pricing is made up of 4 different variables. I'll walk through each of them and talk a little bit about a new product that we're excited about that I think makes a ton of sense in today's market. The first is market rate. It's a number constantly recalibrated. It represents where a built-out space of this caliber would lease today on a traditional basis. Is something that I think we almost never get pushback on, to be honest. It's definitely an agreed upon number. The second is a fixed expenses. Fixed expenses includes things like electric, taxes, facilities management, which actually encompasses a wide variety of items, such as our daily porter service, nightly cleaning, consumables, which is your coffee, pest control, HVAC maintenance, workplace repairs, and much, much more. So that's what makes up that total $15 that goes into that fixed expense. The third is our service tier. So that's IT, branding, and furniture. These are available in 3 different tiers, which allow customers to choose whatever solution is perfect for them. For our enterprise clients, we can, get it as fancy as they need, and really our base product itself is even enterprise quality. And then the last is our platform fee. This is a fee that's a fixed percentage of the other 3 variables, which gets smaller the longer your customers are willing to commit to the platform. It starts at 20% and drops as low as 4%. You'll notice at the bottom of the slide, there's another option for pricing. So it's something called Knotel Lite. It's a product that we introduced given the feedback that we had gotten from the brokerage community, as well as obviously in today's environment, the idea that we want to be as competitive as possible with all of the products being offered. And we want to give the utmost flexibility to your clients when it comes to our offering. What Knotel Lite allows you to do is remove some of the services they may not need. So that daily cleaning and porter service, some of the consumables, some of the things that we heard from our clients that they were okay handling on their own, we can actually remove. That drops your fixed expenses from $15 to $9. And then along with Knotel Lite, we're able to work with your clients to remove really any of the services they may not need. Branding might not be as necessary for a project-based company or whatever it may be. You might have your own furniture that you want to move with you. You may want to handle your own IT, which are all things we understand. And those are all things that can be stripped out and can result in the difference of having that $103 versus $88 price. You'll see here on the slide what is included in Knotel Lite. So our nightly service, our janitorial supplies, all of that stuff, and then some optional add-ons. So consumables, IT servicing, which is your conference rooms, your Zoom rooms, and your AV system monitoring. I will say that even if you do choose and opt to go with a Knotel Lite product, we at any time can give you our full service product. You can choose to opt into whatever it is as things change for your clients and your customers. Should they want to redo their space, should they want to add additional branding, should they want to put conference Zoom rooms in every conference room, that's something that we can work with you to accomplish. And I'll pass it back to Allison to talk a little bit about what it's like to work with Knotel and some of the differentiators of our business.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Hopefully people enjoyed seeing all of those great photos of our various spaces and use cases. So I do want to talk about what it's like to work with us as a broker. On average, for new deals, it takes about 45 days from the initial introduction to close an agreement with Knotel. And this is extremely fast, I think, especially given the environment we're in right now, where companies are working so quickly to make very critical decisions. I think it's great to know that this is a very fast process. And during this process, you will work directly with a Knotel account executive who will serve as your point person at Knotel and facilitate all of the conversations with our team of experts, including workplace strategists, designers, and IT specialists. After your client identifies a space and a workplace form is signed, Knotel will then work directly with your client while keeping you informed throughout the implementation process. So there's entire transparency there, and I think that the partnership aspect is really important. While your client is in their Knotel space, so after they've moved in, they'll work directly with a relationship manager at Knotel. And upon time for renewal, this relationship manager will work directly with you, the broker, to begin that renewal conversation. So again, constantly being kept in the loop about everything that is going on so that you can maintain the best and closest relationship with your client. So I think this highlights that, we absolutely view brokers as partners, and you're involved throughout the process so that you can continue to maintain that relationship and provide them with the very best service.
Yeah, and I think as we continue to evolve and as we continue to work with the brokerage community, what we're trying to accomplish a lot of the times and what we're trying to change in order to accomplish is removing a lot of the frictions that go into this process and allows us to accomplish that 45-day turnaround. One of the things that we had constantly heard and seen in the market is the idea that having a order form for each individual space negotiated with red lines each time created a lot of friction, took a lot of time, and made it so that businesses might not be able to move as fast as they would like. We heard that, we saw that, and we adjusted. So we launched our MSA program, our Master Service Agreement program, which allows you to do one negotiation for all legal terms for any current future workspace locations. There is a workspace form that will be attached to that, which has the specific business terms relevant to that particular location, but doesn't require any legal redlining, and allows us to truncate that negotiation process so that it's not really about the different, minor points and renegotiating them every time, but allowing us to move really, really quickly, not just on one space, but on all of the additional spaces. I harped on this last time I spoke, but a lot of these clients are looking at, and a lot of your clients are hopefully looking at more than one city. And this allows us to really negotiate one thing and move into other cities incredibly fast, making the process really a lot easier for the broker and for their client.
All right, so we hope that you found this helpful. Just to recap, we know that you're hearing a lot from your clients right now who are trying to figure out, their next steps, especially as they're, potentially dealing with some headcount fluctuations. And we're definitely here to help you and your clients during this uncertain time, and also once the crisis ends. I think, or I feel that, flexibility is absolutely here to stay. We talked in the beginning about how it gives you options. And as you look around at all of the companies who are undergoing changes right now, and every company will be impacted positively or negatively, having a flexible real estate portfolio does give them that optionality, whether that is runway or, saving headcount, et cetera. And just want to recap a few examples of ways that we can help. So the first is, if your client already has a workspace, we can offer workplace strategy, furniture options, and or manage the space. So that's more of the bring your own real estate model. If your client needs workspace, we can match them to a space, tailor it to their needs, as you saw, and then also manage the space. And then lastly, if clients wish to split their workspace into different locations for safety reasons, we can provide backup space or flexible secondary locations. I'm hoping that this drives the point home that Knotel is truly a flexible workspace platform. It's not just about providing the physical space. We do have a variety of options and solutions that we can tailor based on whatever your client needs.
Yeah, I think that's right. And just a final point. We understand that things are extremely fluid right now, that a lot of your clients have a lot of questions, and that I'm sure you do as well. I would just offer that Knotel is here to just have conversations, whether it's about a specific client or a specific deal, or just about Flex in general, and how we can potentially work together. You can reach out to me at adunn@knotel.com at any time, or broker partnerships at knotel.com, and we'll certainly make sure that the right Knotel team member is getting back to you and in front of you and providing you with all the answers that they can. And for sure, if you have a Knotel contact who you're already comfortable with, please feel free to reach out to them now. We're always here to help. So. And now we'll jump into some questions. So David asked, for clients looking to see spaces now, what is Knotel's policy and how are you accommodating them? So we get this a lot. We obviously had many deals that were already in flight, which required touring, as well as new opportunities coming in. Obviously, we're being extremely careful and cautious in today's environment. What we do have is the ability to do virtual tours in many cases, to do 3D walkthroughs in some. We have Matterport walkthroughs of several of our spaces, and where possible, we can get a team member into a space to actually do a virtual walkthrough with you. Again, this is something that is fluid and is changing constantly. So as things do change, we'll make sure to update the community on what it is that we're doing. But we are definitely still able to at least get a great idea of what the spaces are. And the next question from Caroline. A lot of press recently about some of your competitors and how they're handling the crisis. Can you talk a little bit about what you are doing in today's environment to make sure that your clients and our clients are safe? Yeah, that's a great question.
So I can jump in on this part. So first and foremost, right, it's about communication and ensuring that we are communicating with them frequently, letting them know, what's happening and giving them tips on obviously, how to stay safe. So Knotel has been in very close contact with all of our customers. And also when it comes to the cleaning aspect, have obviously been doing a lot of that and ensuring that these spaces are clean. But I would say that maintaining that that relationship and those lines of communication have been very, very important for us. So we've done a very good job of proactively communicating versus waiting, right, for customers to reach out, trying to understand, what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And just a couple of stats, right? Knotel is 100% work from home at this point as a corporation. Our clients are in the low to mid 80s, although that changes almost every day. In the last 7 days, we've done over 50 deep cleanings of our various spaces across the globe. And so I think what we're doing now is acting as much as advisors, as office providers, making sure that people have good business continuity plans, that people, when they get out of this, feel that they're empowered. And hopefully we can be doing the same with you guys and your clients. So. And then another question from Jared. Can you talk a little bit more about geometry? Is it furniture or a actual subscription service? Yeah, so Allison touched on this briefly, but geometry is a product that we've launched, again, in part as a reaction to the market and what we're hearing, as well as to today's environment, right? A lot of people who might not be Knotel traditional customers could still use the expertise that we have and the ability to adjust into a flexible environment. Knotel can certainly help with sourcing furniture as well as workspace management. And what they also can do is allow you to reimagine certain spaces to a more flexible use, to a more open floor plan or whatever it may be. Please feel free to reach out. We're happy to connect you with the team we have running geometry. They're incredible. Our workspace managers and various different connects we have within the organization. And I think that is it. If you have any more questions, feel free to throw them into the chat or email brokerpartnerships@. Otherwise, what I'll do now is talk a little bit about where you can go now to get some information. We'll obviously share this presentation. All of Knotel's availabilities are there for you to look at. You can sort by city, by space, by move-in date, all at listings.knotel.com. Geometry, if you do have further questions about geometry, feel free to reach out to geometrysales@knotel.com. Our emails are here. Please feel free to reach out. We'd love to talk. And you are going to, again, get a follow-up here with a quiz. Please take the quiz. Everyone who gets a 70 or more will get a $10 gift card. And I think that's all for me. Appreciate everybody for listening today. Appreciate for taking some time out of your day. And we hope to continue the conversation offline.
Yes, stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much.